I found that troubling as well. But certainly Ferguson and all of the jump to conclusion everywhere from the predictables, Sharpton, Jackson, Eric, my people Holder, Barack. If I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon Martin. But I just find this, I don't know. The majority, here's my belief. The vast majority of police in this country would do what this guy did, given the the flip side, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting that every cop or the majority of cops in the country would say, well, let me buy that for you. But the notion that, okay, I'm a white cop and you're black, I'm going to mistreat you and abuse you just because you're black. There's got to be thousands of police around this country doing good deeds, if you will, to thousands of people on a daily basis. I mean, and I mean, I've talked about it. Everyone knows there are Barneys out there. There are rogue cops. So there are bad apples in every bunch. But now my question is, you said you may have seen this story and not at IJR. I'm guessing you didn't see Brian Williams last night talk about it, right?
No,
or the guys at CBS or ABC or CNN or MSNBC, and you're not going to.
No, definitely not. I did not see that at all.
And the reason being, it doesn't fit the narrative.
Of course not. Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, there was other stories too where it was actually, I think it was. What it was. It was like another, I think that actually I didn't see that story. I saw a similar story where a police officer actually saw this woman struggling and went ahead and bought her her groceries. He took her grocery shopping. And that's the story that I saw, but that was also
and similar. And that's, to the point. I mean, you see stuff like this around the country. I don't know how many fold over the stories that, or over the image that the protesters try to portray. Now, what was also cool about this particular story is there was another shopper. Granted, Ms. Johnson was a shoplifter, but there was a shopper in the Dollar General who happened to probably via iPhone film a bit of what was going on. And whomever it is, I don't know, guy, gal, whomever, but put it up on Facebook, and that went viral. And then, of course, the story was picked up. But since that happened, a whole bunch of strangers, food, household items, and so forth, pouring into the police department for Miss Johnson and other people in need.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really something that's heartening when you see people, go out and help people like that really do need it, Yeah,
and it's just, these are the kinds of stories that you don't hear about in the mainstream media. And again, whenever I say mainstream, you put quote marks around it, but it just doesn't happen because, America's evil. White people don't do good things for black people because they're arrogant. I mean, they're racist. And this is the most, maybe set color aside. You know how I always used to say, I don't care if you're white, black, yellow, glow in the dark, whatever have you. This generally is a giving nation, is a generous nation. I mean, both within the country and throughout the world. On average, American citizens give far more than anybody else on the planet. Yet, if you listen to liberals, we're pretty much the worst place on earth.
Yeah, that's the thing. Actually, I think one way that you could see it is when I went to Italy, it's like you have to pay to use the public restroom.
You never did get over that. I remember you telling me that while you were there.
I can't. Well, I drink a lot of water, and I have to go to the bathroom quite frequently. But I mean, it's not the same as being giving or whatever like that. But things like that we take for granted here, and over there it's like, nah, you're gonna pay me to use the toilet.
You never did tell me. I mean, like comparable, like U.S. money. I mean, how much would it cost on average to?
It was like 50 or 60 cent euro. So what? It was like a dollar something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
Jeez.
it's not. And then there's no water fountains anywhere either, like to drink from. There's none of that. So it's stuff that you take for granted, but you're like, oh man, like when you don't have it, it's what you look for. And I'm like, hey, this is pretty cool.
So again, like, when I was in France, particularly when we were in Paris, I think maybe I shared this with you, but you talk about things you take for granted and restroom facilities. We were in a really nice restaurant. It's kind of a restaurant bar type thing, but it was really nice. It was very upscale. And we were, of course, I drank beer because I have no class, right? You're supposed to drink wine and stuff. But so, a couple of us said, well, we're going to go to the... So we walk into the restroom, and it consists of like a sink kind of on a little podium thing, but the, whatever you want to call it, what would be a toilet or, whatever else, was like a concrete floor, and it was just a hole in the floor, and that was it.
Oh, yeah, that happened to me too. Oh, my gosh, that was so weird.
So, of course, I immediately thought, like, if you were to stagger in there, and you were just a little bit,
that was my fear, honestly.
Yeah.
I was terrified when that happened.
Help! I've fallen and I can't get out. And literally.
Oh my gosh, that was.
All right, so it looks like Housen is back. Are you here, brother?
There.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi.
All right, listen. I have explained. I've covered your ass that you called me and you kept me posted, but you were hopelessly stuck in a medical marijuana line in San Diego. So how'd that all work out?
Dude, that is totally and completely incorrect.
Really?
I was not stuck in a line. I was in a waiting room. There was no line formed. And secondly, it was not in San Diego. It was in San Clemente, which is in the county of Orange, not the county of San Diego. So I'm actually irritated. I knew this was going to happen. You completely and totally falsely portrayed. I was not in a line, and I was not in the county of San Diego.
So I might as well work for Rolling Stone because I did not verify the facts.
That's exactly. I mean, it was obviously medical marijuana related, certainly, but it was not in the manner and the location that you implied.
So you were in the room. I mean, was this your first prescription, or the first time you got a prescription, or give us a little background? How did this all work out?
Dude, it's worked out freaking great.
That was good. That might be the funniest thing you've done this week.
No. Do you want me to tell you what I was doing, or do you not want to hear about it?
No, I do want to hear about it because I do know what you were doing, and it's a kind of a joint friend of ours and someone that go ahead, tell the folks.
Wait, I see what you did there with the word joint.
What?
You said it was a joint friend.
Joint Facebook friend. Oh, whoa, the joint? O'Connor is one of you?
No, but the joint thing, you were just making a joke about the marijuana, and then you said it's a joint friend. I don't even think you were aware of how funny that was, Mike.
No, I was not, but I will take credit for it. Oh, I can't now because I didn't know I was doing it as I did it. But yeah, tell everybody where you were.
I was on Dennis Miller Radio nationally. Our friend and colleague from IJ Review fills in for Dennis on occasion when Dennis is gone, and whenever Larry's on, he always has me come on for a segment or two. So that's what I was doing, man. I was blowing off our radio show to be on the nationally broadcast Dennis Miller Radio show. All
right, so I have two questions. A, did he pimp IJ Review, and B, did he pimp our measly little show?
Yes and yes. In fact, he pimped IJ Review a lot.
Right.
And he mentioned in the 10-minute segment that I was on, he mentioned our radio show, the fact that you and I together run a radio show, and he gave out the web address 3 different times, which is therightmics.us. So yeah.
That's perfect.
Dude, we just got some significant national exposure for our radio
Have you
show.
already shot the bucks over to the PayPal account?
Yes.
All right, so, dude, what do you want to talk about now? I have talked about, by the way, where is this? Oh, this deportations thing. Do you want to go there? Did you send me that? Because I had already put it together.
No, you sent me that. So
Okay,
what have you covered so far, man? I don't want to step on any particular toes.
Did you see? I'll just recap just really quickly because no toes to step on. But I just want your feedback on it just a tad. The article I put up this morning about the grandma caught stealing eggs by the police officer.
Oh yeah.
And what he did, and of course, we won't go back through it because I talked about it, 10, 15 minutes ago. But I think, when you kind of compare and contrast to all the crap going on around the country, indicting police officers have been attacked around the country. But I think the irony that this was a white cop and a black suspect, and what he did, granted, she wasn't packing heat or she didn't try to beat up the store clerk or whatever have you. But, my point was, again, this kind of stuff happens, probably thousands of police officers around the country befriend or help thousands of people, which dwarfs, any abuse that might occur. And I'm not suggesting nor saying, because it did not happen in Ferguson, but certainly, we had questions about Eric Garner. But you don't hear this stuff in the mainstream media, man.
No, not at all. And because here's the thing, is that there's a particular narrative that's trying to be driven that people want to do. And what they do is they pick the anecdotal examples of this and that. The problem with that is that you could literally find an anecdotal example to support every single narrative that could possibly exist. I mean, we've got a country of 300 and some million people, and how many millions of people in law enforcement, and how many multi-million number of interactions between law enforcement and other humans happen every single hour. So when you just throw that many variables in, you literally are going to have every single possible result and interaction. At news sells, dog bites man is not a story, man bites dog is. So that's part of the reason why it's fun to have these kinds of things. It's because it's so easy to get jaded. What's going on in America today? Oh, well, what's going on in America is the white police law enforcement world is out to destroy the black community. I mean, that's an easy thing to get if you spend your time listening to Al Sharpton. But the reality is that they're all just a bunch of human beings like everybody else, man. And sometimes, unfortunately, awful things happen. And sometimes a guy gives a woman a hug because she was broke and stole some eggs. It's perfect.
And what never happens are stories like this, as we said earlier, being you don't hear Brian Williams, you don't hear Scott Pelley, you don't hear whoever the new guy is at ABC. You don't hear them talk about these types of stories anymore. You used to, but it doesn't, as we say, fit the narrative. So crickets now.
No, and frankly, it's part of the reason why IJ Review has such a huge online presence, is that for social media, these kind of stories, this isn't, it's kind of a weird thing to be, tonight at 10, story about a woman who gets hugged by a police officer. It's a kind of an odd story for that.
Because it's not news.
But in terms of just stuff going through your Facebook or Twitter timeline, it's a great story, man. I loved it.
I think so as well. Listen, we are already at the bottom of the first half hour on the Right Mics with Mike Miller and now Michael Hausum, who is only slightly high. I think the buzz is worn off just a tad. We will be back in mere minutes. As I say, do not go away. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, this is Alfonso Rachel with 20 Pound Sledge and PJTV Zone Nation, and you're listening to VLR.
At Independent Journal Review,